with it? Saying it? Okay. Thank you so much for coming here today. A bunch of smiling faces. And it's a great day in Livingston Parish. Let's call this meeting to order. Today being Thursday, February the 8th, 2024, in the year of our Lord. It is 6 o'clock p.m. here at the Livingston Parish Council Chambers, and all public notices have been sent out, so this is an official meeting of the Livingston Parish Council. Before we get started, I'd like to ask Mr. Billy Taylor, would you lead us in a prayer?
Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us all to be here. Lord, we thank you for just giving us beautiful weather that we've had here lately. You know, we had a lot of rain the last couple of weeks. Lord, please give everybody on this panel the wisdom to make great decisions for this parish, Lord, and just be with everybody that's in this parish. Amen.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jamie Sandifer, would you be so kind as to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jamie. Andy, would you call the roll? Make sure we have a quorum here today.
Mr. Artie?
Here.
Ms. Sandifer?
Here.
Mr. Wascom?
Here.
Mr. Shavers?
Here.
Mr. Coates?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Mangus?
Here.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
All present.
All right, thank you. Also, just a reminder, don't do like I did. Check your cell phones so they don't go off too much. And also let you know if anyone has any input when a specific item comes up, please raise your hand. I'll try to call and give you the floor. Try to keep your comments to a minimum if possible, and so we can run through the meeting. If someone is having a problem hearing anything, we also have hearing impaired little devices you can stick on your ear. So if just get with Sandy or something if you have a problem. First item is the presentation. Mr. Billy Taylor asked this one to come on. It's recognition of Miss Michelle Temple, Gray's Army Foundation Secretary Treasurer Billy Taylor.
Yes.
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. So, Miss Michelle Temple founded the Gray's Army Foundation a couple of years ago. Her son went into cardiac arrest at the age of 17. Since then, she has had legislation passed to have AEDs put into the Livingston Parish school system, has traveled across the country, putting AEDs in parks and all these other things. And I would like Miss Michelle to come out and explain all the things that she's doing.
Is she here?
Yes, she is.
Give us your name and address, please.
Address, are you going to come visit me? I'm just teasing you, Mr.
The
Wascom.
people watching might.
My name is Michelle Temple, 8064 Olivia Drive, Denham Springs, Louisiana, 70706. And you want the spelling?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So yes, again, this is my husband, Dale Temple, who's originally from here. But yes, we lost our son, Grayson, in December of 21. He was actually 16. He had an unknown underlying arrhythmia that we had no idea he had. As a nurse and as a mom, I felt like I completely failed him. But I have made it my mission, or we have made it our mission, to raise awareness for sudden cardiac arrest in our youth, especially our student athletes, as sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 cause of death in our student athletes. And we just got back from Duke University for a cardiac council meeting, and between 22 and 23,000 youth have lost their lives in the year 2022 to sudden cardiac arrest. So part of our mission is to obviously teach CPR, and not certified CPR, but just hands-only CPR, place AEDs, perform heart screenings, and raise awareness of the signs and symptoms to be looking for in our youth. We did get legislation passed that requires coaches, trainers, and school nurses to take a yearly in-service on recognizing the signs and symptoms of sudden cardiac arrest and how to respond. We do plan on going back this year and adding do an amendment to that bill that would encourage parents and players to sign a contract, just like with the Concussion Act, that would alert them to the signs and symptoms and what to look for. And if their child exhibits those symptoms, they'll be pulled from play until cleared. One of our main goals is getting AEDs out in the public for public access. I know last year, I believe, Live Oak had a cardiac arrest at their complex. They do have AEDs. Am I saying that right, Mr. Shavers? Yes. There was people there that performed CPR and was able to revive the person, but those AEDs are locked up. Our goal is to get those AEDs public access, so when citizens are out walking, our athletes are playing during practice, there's access to those, whether it's the parent, the player, the coaches, and we want those coaches trained in CPR, not full BLS certified again, where you have to give mouth to mouth, just simply hands-on CPR and knowing how to start that chain of survival. So we have actually raised the money to donate to this particular AEDs to North Park, and we're working with them currently to place them and get that done. And again, we would love to see all coaches trained, and we would like to offer the training to parents and the athletes as well. And we do this for free. We don't charge, but we want to protect our parish, we want to protect the citizens, and we want to prevent another family from having to experience our loss.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Taylor, I believe you had a resolution.
I do. Ms. Sandy, can you read the resolution for me, please?
I got it right here if you want me to, Sandy.
Thank you.
Sandy, I can read it if you, I got it. This will be a resolution to establish the placement of automated external defibrillators, or AEDs, in recreational parks throughout the parish of Livingston. Encourage all recreational coaches to become certified in cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Livingston Parish Council. Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Seconded by Mr. John Mangus. Is there any discussion?
Michelle, I remember when your son passed, and the community involvement and outpouring of love that we gave you guys. That needs to carry on with what you're going through, and I'm terribly sorry for your loss. And you have my full support with what you're doing at these parks, and I think it's a great idea. So whatever I can do to help in the Watson Live Oak area, you've got my full support.
Thank you so much. Any more discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote? Oh, did you have something?
Yes, I wanted to tell where Ms. Tumpley. Okay. I want to get with you afterwards because I'm involved in my church, Immaculate Conception and Knights of Columbus and the Men's Club, and maybe we can help out as well. So.
All right. Also, I was playing pickleball this week and had one of them things stuck right next to the court in Baton Rouge, on Bragg. So I thought it was a great thing. So you want to call for the vote, Ms. Sandy?
Mr. Artie?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We've got one. We're going to move up item 17, but before we do that real quick, let's stay in presentations, then we'll jump to item 17. Mr. Glenn Duncan, the designer of the Louisiana State flag, you want to come up and tell us real quick what the...
Thank you, Chairman Wascom. And congratulations to the new members of the council and existing members. Glad to be in front of you too, Mr. President. Through a very strange series of events in my life, I live in Baton Rouge. I work in the area. I'm an employee of Providence Engineering Company. Has nothing to do with any of that. Through a strange series of events, I had the great good honor of designing our official state flag. Not a lot of you may have known that happened, but in 2006, our legislature created a little amendment to a law that described the flag. Now, the law was real simple. A pelican in white on a blue field with a ribbon in white and the state motto, Union, Justice, and Confidence. But the legislature, following some research done by an 8th grader in Houma who made a fantastic presentation, added an amendment that said there shall be an appropriate display of 3 drops of blood on the flag. I happened to be in the advertising business at that time, man. I had artists all around me. I had printers. I had people that knew what they were doing. I called up the Secretary of State's office and just said, hey, a citizen got this law amended. I think citizens should rise up and help do the flag. What can I do? And they said, well, come make a presentation. So I called a friend of mine who was an artist because I wasn't one. And we ended up doing that state flag. So in front of you is a report. And this is just a little moment in time, since you're now public servants here in the parish. I've given you a report of our state's flag and the history of it, how we got to this point. And the strangest thing about it is the flag is, this image has been around for nearly 200 years. The flag's been around for more than 100 years, but we don't really know who designed the first one. We only know who designed that one. And that was me and a guy named Curtis Van. And what we found out is, if you look in the little report I gave you, the book on page 9, you'll see 6 images of 6 different flags that we found flying over the state of Louisiana. Now, they all look sort of alike, but they're not. And even after those 6, we found about 3 more. So we had a state that did not have a single official state flag. And we looked to the Secretary and said, I think we need one. I think you're going to need to do it from scratch, because all of these may be copyrighted, or the manufacturers of the flag may have the rights to them. So that flag is done from scratch, but it took us about 1.5 years because we jumped into all of the law, all of the culture, all of the history to make sure it was a natural growth of all of the flags that had come before it. And I just really am proud to be here to tell you a little bit about it. I hope you enjoy reading about our flag. I think there's a lot of history there and a lot of meaning there, and I'm glad to know y'all have the new one and the official one right there in these chambers. Thank you.
Mr. Duncan, before you leave, can you tell us what the 3 drops of blood, is there?
Yes, okay, so 2
quickly.
stories. It's the pelican wounding itself to take care of its young.
Gotcha. Okay.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, let's go to item 17 real quick. I think we had somebody ask to move this up. Adopt a resolution to authorize a waiver of section 125-176 definitions to allow a third address on 2-acre tract for Roberta Fay located 32741 Highway 441. This is Mr. Joe Erdy's district. Mr. Joe, you know much about this?
Yes, I do, John. I've been out there and I've spoke with the folks, and I am like the rest of us. We're not all into waivers anymore, but I'm going to ask for y'all to consider it for tonight on this particular item. It's very complicated because of a tornado involved and all that. And I invited the folks up, Miss Fay, who represents the family. Would you please come up? Because I truly have a hard time even looking at it and talking to them, understanding what happened to these folks. Tell it all to us, please, so we can hear it.
Roberta Oliphant. In December 1st of 23, a tornado come through at 10:35 that night and knocked my trailer over. So it knocked my lights out. So December 12th, I went and got permits to get a camper trailer put there till I get something else. So I got all the permits. So January 29th, I went back to the permit office to get my permits for my trailer. And the lady says, I can't give you a permit because that address was canceled in April when my nephew went to put a trailer on the back part of the property. And I said, well, you gave me permits in December for the camper. She said, well, I can't give you permits now for the trailer. So I'm stuck with a trailer without a permit to keep my lights on. I only have lights for 18 months.
Okay. Mr. Erdy, you good with this?
Well, don't you have all the documents there
Yes,
too,
I
by
have
the
all
way?
my documents here. I have pictures showing where the trailer has been there we've had this address for 40-some years, almost 50 years. And now I can't get my permit.
I have a question.
Mr. Chambers.
Wouldn't this fall under the hardship ordinance? Or could this?
I would hope so. I would hope so, yes. Because we're not
We
at work.
could do that, or we could just give the lady our third address at that place. I mean, whatever Mr. Joe's desire is.
Because this address has been there 40-some years, and then they canceled it in April. But
Well,
they gave me a permit in December.
This has happened, none of her fault. To me, it's just a mix-up in some way. And like I said, it's family land forever, and it does fall under hardship. And me, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how to, but I'd like to see this waiver accepted tonight, so y'all can get back to living to normal.
Is that a motion, Mr. Joe? Is
Yes, it is.
there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. John Mangus. Any more discussion? Ms.
Ms. Raven has some input, if you'll allow her.
Ms. Raven?
There's two houses that are using one address, isn't that correct?
No, not no more.
Not anymore?
No, that was years ago.
Okay.
Until my nephew come in April and got
it
it
for that address.
Yes.
Okay.
But this address 32735 has been there as long as the 32741.
That's the address your nephew is now?
No, my nephew has a Pueblo address.
Okay.
Question, Mr. Chair. Can you explain one more time what is currently there?
There is currently there is
Yes,
a
ma'am.
camper.
A camper.
Yes, ma'am.
And the camper,
I'm working, I have lights in my name there on the camper.
okay, and the camper is there to get you through the hardship from the tornado?
Yes, until I have bought a trailer. I'm waiting any day to get it put in.
Okay,
But I have to have my permits to give to the trailer people to move my trailer in.
so you can have the trailer and exist with the RV until you get yourself in the trailer?
Yes, ma'am.
So if we use the hardship ordinance, we could stipulate a timeline, right?
It's a year.
It's 6 months or a year?
As soon as I get my trailer in, my lights will be taken off of the camper and put onto the trailer.
Can I interject real quick? I think there's still some confusion. And correct me if I'm wrong with what I've seen, what I hear. There's one piece of property. There's a home on that property. It's been there a long time.
Long time.
There was your home on there that was been there a long time with a given address.
Yes, sir.
Tornado came, took the home away. You got a temporary permit to put in place a travel trailer till you could get your mobile home, a new one, back.
Yes, sir.
In the meantime, on that one tract of property, your nephew or someone else moved in another mobile home
That was in April.
and got an address for that particular mobile home.
Yes, sir.
So at this point in time, we have a mobile home on one tract of property that is perfectly fine. She is wanting to get a third address on that property for a permanent address.
And that's what the waiver's for.
That's what the waiver
That's what the
is for,
waiver, exactly.
permanent power. Because her mobile home now has been purchased and ready to be delivered, but she can't get power to it. Right now, she's on temporary power for the travel trailer.
That's
What
correct.
about,
So we need to, the easiest way from my standpoint, if we're going to grant the waiver and allow them to do that, in my personal opinion, it should be subdivided and get another address is what should happen. But the wishes of the council, my personal opinion, I think we just grant her a third address on that particular address. And that, because you really can't do a hardship, because a hardship stipulates a time frame, and this is not a time frame. So they only have two options: either tell this lady no, and she has to go through the planning department and subdivide the property out to get an address. I'm not sure how big the tract of property is.
2 acres.
It's 2 acres.
Or either just grant her a third address on this particular property.
Well, that's what I'm asking for in the waiver.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Artie, second by Mr. Mangus. Any more discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for, she didn't want to. You want to call for the vote, please?
Mr. Artie?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
abstain?
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
I'm abstaining.
Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes. Yes.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, let's go back to item 8. Livingston Parish President's Office. Adopt a resolution to proclaim March as Flood Awareness Month. Mr. Randy, do you have anyone to speak for this? Ms. Bobette Lark, why don't you give us your name and address?
Bobette Larkey, 17850 M. Guitro Lane, Livingston, Louisiana, 70754.
Thank you. Do you want to read the Flood Awareness Proclamation?
I sure will. Proclamation, Parish of Livingston, State of Louisiana. Whereas the Amite River Basin has been substantially affected by floods in the past and can be expected to be affected in the future, and whereas some of the most devastating floods occur during the spring season of the year, and whereas the citizens, communities, and parishes within the Amite River Basin have suffered substantial losses during these floods, and whereas the citizens and individual property owners should be aware of the measures which can be taken by themselves or through government government to reduce the risk of flood losses. Now therefore, I, Randy Delat, Parish President of Livingston Parish, State of Louisiana, do hereby proclaim March 2024 Flood Awareness Month.
Is there a motion to adopt that resolution?
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Ricky Goff.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Dean Coates. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Item B, adopt a resolution to support and endorsement of the Homes for Every Local Protector, Educator, and Responder Act, a bipartisan federal bill aid to parish police, firefighters, emergency medical vehicles, and teachers. Do you have a resolution for that as well?
Parish of Livingston, State of Louisiana, whereas first responders dedicate their lives to protecting and serving their fellow Americans, and whereas our nation's first responders have demonstrated their unwavering commitment to their communities, whereas the HELPER Act would create a home loan program within the Federal Housing Administration to help our law enforcement officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and pre-K through 12 teachers by making home ownership more affordable. And whereas the HELPER Act would allow law enforcement officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and pre-K through 12 teachers to obtain a low-interest, fully insured home loan with no down payment and no monthly mortgage insurance costs for a first-time home purchase. Therefore, I, Randy Delat, duly elected President of the Parish of Livingston, do hereby attest my full support to S1514 and HR 3170, the Homes for Every Local Protector, Educator, and Responder, the HELPER Act.
Thank you, Ms. Bobette. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution? By Mr.
I'll second.
Coates, second by Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Adopt a resolution to support Tangipahoa Parish President Robbie Miller in his candidacy for second vice president of the Police Jury Association.
A resolution by the Livingston Parish Council in support of Tangipahoa Parish President Robbie Miller in his candidacy for second vice president of the Police Jury Association of Louisiana Executive Board and otherwise providing with respect thereto. Whereas President Robbie Miller has announced his candidacy for second vice president on the Executive Board of the Police Jury Association of Louisiana, and whereas President Miller is currently serving on the Executive Board of the Police Jury Association as the representative for Region 6, having first been elected in 2020, and whereas Tangipahoa Parish is a member in good standing of the Police Jury of Louisiana, and whereas President Miller will begin serving his third term as president of Tangipahoa Parish in January of 2024, serves as president of the Parish Presidents of Louisiana, secretary of the Regional Planning Commission, and is an active voice on the state's Connect LA broadband initiative. And whereas President Miller is active and serves in civic, community, and nonprofit programs in Tangipahoa Parish, which includes the Hammond-Ponchatoula Sunrise Rotary Club and the Lions Athletic Association. And whereas if elected as second vice president, Mr. Miller will serve the Police Jury Association of Louisiana, an excellent and effective member on its executive board. Be it resolved that by the Livingston Parish Council in due regular session convened that the Livingston Parish Council does hereby endorse Robbie Miller for election to second vice president of the Police Jury Association of Louisiana Executive Board. Be it further resolved that this resolution be sent to the Police Jury Association of Louisiana and all Louisiana parishes humbly requesting that they support and endorse President Robbie Miller as the candidate for second vice president on the Executive Board of the Police Jury Association of Louisiana.
Thank you, Ms. Bobbitt. That's a mighty long resolution.
No joke.
Is there a motion from the council? Motion by Ms. Sandifer. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Joe Erder. Is there any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Is there any opposed? That motion carries. Item D, approval of department heads. Let's pick these up individually, if y'all okay. Well, the first one would be for Department of Public Works. I think he was under the home rule charter, the parish president makes that appointment, and it's confirmed by the parish council. So the first one would be the Department of Public Works, Mr. Robert Dugas. Is that correct? And the home rule charter requires that we announce their salaries. So that would be for $79,040 a year. So is there? I got it.
It's $70,040.
For Robert Dugas?
Can somebody check me on that? I'm looking at the. I'm sorry, it's a typo. I apologize.
okay,
I
that's
know
all right.
Robert probably, his heart sunk if he's in here.
Why you do that, Dan?
Okay, so is there a motion to approve Mr. Robert Dugas?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
I'll
Mr.
second.
Ricky Goff, second. Second by Mr. Billy Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Is there any opposed? Mr. Robert Dugas, congratulations. You are now an official department head. Huh? Oh, okay, well, I'll get them all to stand up in a second. Second one would be for the Livingston Parish Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. His choice is Mr. Chris Anderson. I think he's here yeah, there he is, for $70,000 a year. Is there a motion by this council? By Ms. Erin Sandifer?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Chris. You are now Homeland Security. At the last council meeting, we did appoint Mr. DeLatte, CFO, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Mickey McMorris. We bragged on him till we just couldn't anymore. But one thing we did not do, we didn't announce the salary. So let's just redo the same thing again. I'd like to, is there a motion to appoint Mr. Mickey McMorris for the salary of $94,820? Motion by Ms. Sandifer. Second by Mr. Dean Coates. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thanks again, Mr. Mickey. Ms. Sadie, those minutes were all...
The 25th is good to go, but the 11th, still.
Okay, so a motion
Needs to
to
be sent to
adopt the
y'all.
January 25th, 2024 minutes. Is there a motion?
I make that motion.
I
Motion
second
by
it.
Mr. Shaver, second by Mr. Artie. Is there any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. So we'll do the January 11th at the next meeting, same thing? Okay. Grants Department is Ms. Mr. Brandon Browning. You got a resolution for acceptance of the Berry construction of Dunn Road?
Correct. I think the correct way to say that is Barrier. Barrier Construction, yeah.
Final,
Go ahead.
The final inspection was made February 1st, 2022. All work required, including punch list items, have been completed. The work is maintained in Livingston Parish. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
I don't think so. Well, I can add that the state paid 80% of the construction on this. Parish paid their 20% cost share. This is DOTD funding.
Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Authorizing final acceptance of the contract. Motion by Mr. Taylor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ricky Goff. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Resolution for submission of application for applying for the 23-24 LGAP. You want to say a bit about that?
From what I know about it, it's a local government assistance program. It's a $50,000 grant request. There's no parish match on this one.
All right, and this will be for constructing, awning, loading, offloading animals at the Livingston Parish Shelter. Unwanted strays, animals pose a safety and health risk to the approximately 148,000 residents. These improvements serve as a vital need within the parish to improve overall safety, health, and quality of life for our citizens. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Mangus. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And item C, adopt a resolution authorizing submission of application for community rehabilitation. Brandon?
Yeah, so this is the Community Water Enrichment Fund for the town of Springfield to do some improvements that'll will obviously improve the drinking water in that community. It's a $35,000 request. No parish match on that one either.
Motion by Ms. Sandifer seconded by Mr. Coates.
Seconded, yes.
All right, any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Brandon. Item 11, adopt a resolution giving authorization to the parish president to collect proposals for a professional planner to be used for fulfillment of zoning in Livingston Parish. Mr. Goff, I believe, put this on the agenda. You may turn this over to you, or you want to pick it up later? Or?
Either way is fine. I reached out to Mr. DeLatte, and I know the council's been back and forth and visiting with some different people and trying to kind of coordinate all this stuff. And Mr. DeLatte was generous enough to agree that he would do all the footwork and legwork for us and bring to the council his recommendation on a person that we can move forward with our zoning and ordinances and
clarifying all that and get all that stuff straight. So I'd like to make a motion that we give that authority to Mr. Delat and ask him if at all possible, as soon as possible, bring us something.
You got something? Go ahead. Give us your name and address. Just kidding.
Randy Delat, 2417 Courthouse Road. I don't know.
His new home.
It don't matter.
Guys, there's one thing I want to say real quick. With the leadership that Ricky has shown to getting this thing above, y'all are jumping some steps, and what I mean by that, y'all shorten the process. We have been told that it could be 90 days, it could be a whole year. We feel like within 60 days we're going to be bulletproof, and that means no more law people being sued and us paying law settlements out. We have talked to Mr. Stephen Velasco. We have talked to Mr. Jerome here, and I thank y'all both and have also talked to them. We can sign Mr. Jerome for $18,000 contract, y'all, and in 60 days, we're going to be in good shape. That's y'all's choice. You can do what you want. Mr. Stephen has refused to return calls, and I don't know if he's upset with me or some of the councilmen or whatever, but he won't return any calls at this time. I can continue trying to do what y'all want to do, but those are the only two people I reached out and talked to. If y'all want to talk to them tonight or let them do a presentation tonight, that's y'all's call. If y'all want to meet them somewhere else. But those are the only two people we're going to probably be able to choose between. And the other alternative, if he does return calls, is like a year and a half and pretty close to almost $600,000. Big difference.
Thank you. Mr. Goff. Mr. Goff, I see you had a resolution authorizing him to collect proposals. It sounds like he's got one, so I mean...
We had talked a while back, and I think he's hit the ground running and trying to get something together, and our biggest issue is trying to shorten the time frame on all of this. The biggest issue that I had with the other gentleman was this was his first real go at this, if you will. He's very knowledgeable, and he's done a lot of stuff down in Ascension Parish, etc. Since then, I have done a little more digging, and there is a global engineering firm, as I understand it, that is the backbone of what the work process and the work product is supposed to be. So since then, in the conversation I've had, as long as that is that gentleman here?
Mr. Jerome. Mr. Jerome, as Ricky says, has helped do this for Ascension Parish and has some experience doing it in other parishes also. He can do a little small presentation, probably won't take 3 to 5 minutes if y'all want him to.
I just wanted him to clarify the entity that's behind. And as we spoke before, I'm 100% behind where your heart's at. I think you live this thing in Ascension Parish. So that brings a whole lot to the table from my standpoint. My only concern from jump was how are you going to be able to make sure that we got our I's dotted and our T's crossed, because I'm not sure how long you've been in the consulting business, how long you've been away from Ascension Parish. But I want to dive into a little bit more today in a public meeting on the company that is basically going to have your back, if you will, and if you will share who that is, and
sure,
so the people will know.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, members of the council, I think I met most of you at meetings, and it's a pleasure to be here. Jerome Fournier, I'm with JPF Planning Consultants, Inc., LLC rather, and yes, I was planning director at Ascension Parish for 7 years. I retired last June. And then after my retirement at the beginning of this year, I set up a LLC to do some consulting work. I had done consulting work years and years ago prior to my tenure with Ascension Parish, so I am familiar with the consulting world. You're right. It's not going to be a one-man shop, and it's not going to be one person to do all the work that's consumed here. I'm not an engineer. When we look at your drainage ordinance as an example, and all the drainage features that are in the parish and how that works with detention ponds and things of this sort, we will need engineering assistance on that. I'll also need assistance with mapping and some of the mapping aspects, especially as it relates to the zoning ordinance and creating a zoning ordinance for the parish. We will need mapping assistance with that. I don't have that in-house, so I'll be looking for assistance with that. I don't have a firm right now that's attached to me and this proposal, but I would like to state that the proposal that I submitted to you was a 60-day process. It's $18,000, and what that does is get us a path to move forward with a subsequent contract, all right? Because this work in the parish, you had a zone, let me put it this way, you have a zoning ordinance. Some people say you don't have a zoning ordinance. It's only in a portion of the parish. It's not everywhere in the parish. There's a lot of work to be done here on the zoning itself. Then there's the Unified Land Development Code. And the Unified Land Development Code tells you how you have to develop within those zones. That needs work, and prepared to do that. We did a lot of that in Ascension Parish, but it will take assistance, right? So that's the 60 days is to show us a path to get moving, to get this thing on the road. I think you have another resolution or an ordinance that's you're going to be looking at tonight that's going to put a moratorium for a longer period of time. I think it's a full year. You know, by the time that we get to the end of that moratorium, the work should be done within a 12-month period, for sure, right?
Max added some insight.
Give some more clarification.
Yeah. My name is Max Nassar. I'm a senior vice president of WSP USA, or WSP, I'm sorry, Global. We are a 70,000 global consulting firm, full service consulting firm. We work all over the world, obviously. We do planning, design, consulting, finance, construction management, project delivery, just anything you could want for any type of infrastructure or planning. We've been in Louisiana for about 40 years. We have permanent offices in New Orleans, permanent offices in Baton Rouge. We have 45 people in Louisiana. Manage Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Our website is WSP.com. I encourage you to look that up. We're on the front edge of all technologies and global best practices. We are not under contract to work with Jerome. The work that we're doing currently in support of this planning effort is pro bono for the benefit of the parish and for the good of the people. I have the authority to offer that and to commit to that, and I do as I'm standing here.
Yes, you got it.
And just a one quick question. So what you're saying, the pro bono, which we definitely appreciate, and our door is open if you want to put an office in our parish.
Yeah.
But so you're going to be helping Mr. Mr. Jerome. I don't know why I can't remember your name, Mr. Jerome. But you're going to help Mr. Jerome in this, as we discussed in the meeting, gathering all this information for a direction. So I want to make sure everybody understands it's going to cost a whole lot more than $18,000. But this is to get our arms around everything and get a direction to where we really can analyze like what we're going to have to do, and then hopefully we can get moving in a very swift manner. But it sounds to me like the firm that you represent, if Mr. Rome leans on you for any assistance, y'all are very capable of handling that. And I guess I missed that part in our meeting the other night because, as I told Mr. Jerome when I left, that's my only concern is this is your first rodeo, and I know your heart's in the right place, and I know you live it, but can we get our I's dotted and our T's crossed and get this thing implemented in a nice, quick, simple, but legal fashion? And I'm feeling better that the WSP would be able to do that, and then
well, let me just, I'm sorry, Randy. So, because I want to make sure that the council is comfortable with our role and our qualifications. We've been in business continuously for about 150 years. We've worked on some of the most iconic projects in the country, going back that many years. The widening of the Huey P. Long Bridge, for instance, was one of our projects. The time program oversight was one of our projects. The new terminal at the New Orleans airport was one of our projects. my history, a little bit of my history. I was the chairman of the St. Charles Parish Council, so I understand where you all are sitting and the issues you deal with. I was also planning and zoning official in St. Charles Parish. I'm currently the chairman of the Planning Commission in Ascension, and I'm vice chairman of the Zoning Commission in Ascension. So I've been very active in these types of efforts for my entire career.
And I want to bring one more person up for the team. Like you said, it is a team, okay? The legal is Steve Irvin. He's still working underneath the contract that Leighton has signed. So
Okay, good. Mr. Irvin.
Thank you. Thank you, Randy. Of course, I'm already under contract with the council. We're going to amend that contract, and I'm going to finally do what the council hired me to do last year to try to clean things up. What I've discussed with Randy is a three-part process. The first part is to take basically the existing zoning ordinance. If you go to Muni Code right now and look it up, you're going to find there's a whole list of ordinances and nothing that's codified. Put it all together and get that properly advertised and adopted so that we've got a framework to work with. Phase 2 of this is going to be to take that framework and amend it to be a modern, workable zoning ordinance. At phase 1, you're still going to have parts of the parish that aren't zoned, because right now you've got parts of the parish that are not zoned. We would pick the zoning maps up that you currently have and make them part of phase 1. Phase 2, it would be cleaned up. Phase 3, which is not sequential, phase 3 is going to go on while we're doing phase 1 and 2, is that you have development regulations in this parish that are in bad need of modification and amendment. One of the most glaring things is the way the public hearings are held in your development regulations. They occur at a point in time when the landowners can't really tell what's going on. So that needs to be cleaned up, and there's some other things that need to be cleaned up. The idea is to follow that three-part process. The moratorium would not end when phase 1 is done, because phase 1 is a structure. It's not intended to be the actual zoning you'll eventually have with the parish. And that's the idea in a nutshell. Be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. 1 second. Mr. Goff?
I have one quick. What is, never mentioned before in my life. So what is your title and your credentials? I love what you're saying, but what is your title and credentials?
I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for 50 years. I've handled some of the major zoning cases over the years. I've helped other parishes, West Baton Rouge Parish being one. I was only zoning counsel for them for several years. I've helped them clean up similar kinds of problems, and I'm basically here to help y'all do the same thing.
Before we get into discussions, is there a motion to get a direction so we can kind of, do you have any kind of resolution, Ricky, for this?
I'd like to lean back on Mr. Delat, and from the time that we spoke and the time that you got these gentlemen together and you've tried to reach out to Mr. Villavaso or what have you. So as I understand it and gathering here, like that is your suggestion, is we take this and move forward with the 18,000 and get this ball moving on.
This is my suggestion. It's going to take 18,000 to go forward with that suggestion. And I believe that we really have a path forward. Mr. Irvin had proposed this path last year, and we chose not to take it. If we'd have took it then, we wouldn't have had some of the legal activities. Keep in mind, he is the only one that I know in the state of Louisiana who has successfully held up against these lawsuits that has been coming. He has beat this time and time a case. When we hired him last year, Rick, he had to bring his resume up here and show him, and he even oppressed some of our enemies. He got hired unanimous. And unfortunately, his contract got signed, but he wasn't authorized to perform any work. So that contract is still there.
Rick, you got a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion that we go ahead and move forward with 18,000. I feel a whole lot more comfortable based on this WSP and understanding it more, and most definitely with Mr. Irvin. So
is there a second for Mr. Goff's motion?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Billy Taylor. Now, discussion. Do the council members have anything to add?
I have a question.
Mr. Mangus.
For Mr. Irving. Do you have a minute? My predecessor on this council, Joe McMorris, he had worked pretty diligently to, from what I understand, to get District 6 zoned, and it was never adopted or whatever officially, right? So what I want to know is, you were talking about, you said you were going to take the original zoned areas and start with that as your base. Because it wasn't officially adopted, can we get that information to you?
That would, as far as I would be concerned, for phase 1, that would be property that's zoned. It was put together. When I talk about property that's not zoned, I mean in the maps that you have property that's designated as not zoned.
Right.
And
so you could use that existing, we don't have to reinvent the wheel, you can use some of that as...
Yes, sir, we would use that existing map. Now, I can't tell you there aren't going to be parts of that map that aren't going to change when the mapping people get through doing their thing, because they're doing a land use study, and there may be land use issues in the current map. But the idea would be that, let me backtrack a second. What Livingston Parish actually did originally was try to adopt a zoning ordinances brick by brick. Instead of having one comprehensive ordinance, they tried to do it brick by brick and district by district. And that's what eventually caused trouble, because you have all kinds of, there are procedural hurdles that you have to do in order to adopt a zoning ordinance or amend a zoning ordinance. And you had a hodgepodge of whether those things were done. So yes, sir, we can take the existing zone District 6 and work with it.
Thank you.
Any more questions or comments from the council? We had a motion.
Mr. President here. Would it be possible that Mr. Jerome and Mr. Max work with Mr. Steve? I mean, are we, what I'm saying is, it's I know he's got some issues already, some stuff already started. Can we pick that up and go with him and kind of save a little time and money,
Yes, sir. Great point. They were probably Tuesday of this week in a conference in my office, probably for about 4 hours, on how to make this work using things, and that was after the conversation Ricky that asked me to reach out to him. What has happened, guys, is land use. It has to be a land use attorney. We got the best in the state right here. They got some stuff that he's already prepared and he put on the previous past president's desk that wasn't enacted. That's a head start for us. We're gonna start with that. They have to have an engineer, because when you do these things in stages, which is the best way to do it, to shorten that time frame up, is we don't have enough time for them to look at a map and decide. We need engineering help, and we got some ways that we're going to get that accomplished with the in-house with Fort and Tablada that we're using now, Morgan specifically. It's going to be our process. We've got to have public works to help them and go do things. It's almost like a team effort, and we got to have meetings. And when they gather this information, it has to flow across the attorney, it has to flow across the planner, it has to go across the engineers, and also it's got to flow with Sandy. When we codify the ordinances, we got to come to you and say, this is what they're proposing. Do you want this or you want that? You have to make the ultimate decision. All we can do is bring you the information. You have to make the ultimate decisions. And y'all on that process.
Mr. Watts?
I was just if they was able to work with Mr. Steve and let's get this thing rolling, because everybody's on us about time, and that's critical. And look, I'm all for it if they can do that. That's save us some money.
WBRZ did an interview with me today, and the topic was how fast y'all was moving to solve the problems, and y'all need to watch that interview.
This will make it work, I think. Any more discussion from the council? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Can you state exactly what the motion is?
Sure. It was to authorize a contract for $18,000 for Mr. Randy to enter into contract with these three professionals. These three. That's Mr. Max, Mr. Jerome, and Mr. Steve.
Mr. Artie?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Mr. Flatt.
I will say, Mr. Irving, he's good. I've seen him work in here before, and he's top notch.
He's very distinguished looking.
You
too.
know, he's good. He's good
That
at what he
doesn't
does. Let's move right on. Item 12, introduction of ordinance for a one-year moratorium prohibiting the consideration or submittal of preliminary plats for residential developments in District 5. Ms. Sandifer, I'm going to turn this one over to you.
You want to read it? Just
This will be
introduce it.
proposed ordinance 24-03. It's an ordinance to adopt a one-year moratorium prohibiting the consideration or submittal of preliminary plats for residential developments in Council District 5, creating more than 3 lots to allow the adoption of a comprehensive new zoning program and development of plans for infrastructure to accommodate anticipated growth. The public hearing will be February 22nd at 6 p.m.
Motion by Ms. Sandifer to introduce the ordinance, seconded by Mr. Coates. Any discussion?
How's this reflect in the one that we've already passed?
This is just for District 5, and it's a little bit more strict due to the issues that we've got in District 5.
So this is going to overrule District 5? I mean, the parish-wide one, is this what, or is this just going to?
It's just for District 5.
It's just for her district to have a little more meat in it, teeth in it.
So
it'll
call
run
for the
side
vote?
by side with the other one, but
that's what I was
District 5
Mr. Hardy?
will still more meat.
Ms.
Yes.
Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Sure.
All right, let's see here. Item 13, adopt a resolution to authorize a waiver to subdivide a named subdivision, Sims Road Estates. This is in Mr. Ryan Shavers' district. Mr. Shavers?
Yeah, so I went out to the property. This was on the agenda last meeting. I deferred it to today or tonight because I wanted to meet with the homeowners and I wanted to kind of get an idea of what they were wanting. 30-something odd years ago, it was a named subdivision. It is now not. It is private property. It is a one lot. They are trying to turn into 2 separate lots. The sister is living in a camper, and the trailer that she was originally living in was damaged by Ida. And so before they can build a home and move forward, they have to have a waiver to divide those 2 lots so that she's able to do that.
Motion by Mr. Shavers?
Yeah, they're here if they want to speak tonight, if anybody's got any questions. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's up to y'all.
Is there a second?
I'll make that second.
Second by Mr. Ricky Goff. Any more discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yeah.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
All right, item 14, adopt a resolution to receive quarterly reports from all appointed parish boards and commissions, including attendance, budget report, or overview of interactions with the public duties, plans, and needs. Ms. Sandifer put this on the agenda.
It's pretty self-explanatory, so I make a motion to adopt it.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ms. Sandifer, seconded by Mr. Taylor. Is there any more discussion?
I have one small
Mr.
discussion. Is there a mechanism for if they're out of compliance? Just curious.
No, I don't know if anybody's out of compliance yet. I guess we'll have to maybe.
No, I mean, if they don't.
If they don't?
Yeah,
That's a good question.
Yes. If they don't, what's the...
Well, I will assume that there's no information, and I'll have to look at what's going on. Why is there no information? Right.
Well, by the mere fact that it's a resolution, it's not enforceable. And of course, if we did it in an ordinance, it would be a law. Yeah. So I think it's a good faith by Ms. Sandifer.
Standard operating procedures or best practices.
It's just a desire.
Yeah.
Our desire.
Is this public records already?
Pardon?
Is this public records already?
It is. Now, you have to go onto each website and dig through the minutes and the agenda items to find it out. So if you use this, it's just a quarterly report, one page, boom, 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 tells us what we need to know.
Yours was a motion, correct?
Yes.
Was there, and it was seconded by?
Second was
By Mr. Taylor, yes. Any more discussion?
I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm just saying that we might need to at one time consider it as an ordinance. You know, if I was just thinking about from last meeting, I think it was Mr. Councilman. Yeah, right. I mean, my experience, unfortunately, on homeowners association is, what do you do when people don't do what they've signed and said they're supposed to do? So
that's a good
thing I would like to look at. I mean, is it possible we just do it, you know, like instead of quarterly, do it semi-annually, or? Because right now they already have to come and present their budgets and all that stuff once a year.
Well,
and if we can have a little more clarification on what we're asking, like you said, a one-sheeter, and I mean, I think that's not too much to ask on a quarterly basis. I just don't want to put a lot of burden on them. Just to
No, I don't want a lot of burden.
Compile a whole lot of information. If we can give them good direction, they do a 1 or 2 sheet recap of their status, if you will.
Easy +1.
Yeah.
Nothing complicated. We just want to know what's going on so we can track it. It's hard to get anything passed in Livingston Parish when we need something right now because the taxes, we're trying to look into that. The council's trying to look deeply into that and understand, and that's part of this, to bring transparency and accountability. So 1 or 2 sheets, quarterly report, nothing, just the information that we need, and if we have questions, we'll contact you.
All right. Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Artie?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Coates? Yes. Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
And Mr. Goff?
Yes.
All right, item 15, we're going to pull item 15.
Is somebody going to reach out or send a letter to all that? You going to do that? I'm talking about the
They
chairman.
probably need to be informed.
Yeah, we just need to send them a letter or something from the council stating this was passed, and that
Okay.
moving forward, we need to have a quarterly report. 1 or 2 page, nothing crazy.
Can we send some blast out to all of them? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ricky. Good call. Item 16, adopt a resolution to add an additional member to the Master Plan Review Committee from 9 members to 10. Mr. Ryan Shavers.
Yeah, after I got elected and kind of started looking at all of my boards, I noticed I didn't have an appointment to this board. And so if it's okay with John, if we could obviously pass that resolution, and then if I can go ahead and appoint somebody, we can do it when we're doing all the appointments if you want.
You can do it right now if you want.
Okay, if you want to get the vote on it to
Make a motion and
I make a motion to adopt that resolution.
So you just want to create the position. You don't
That's
want to
right.
fill it right now.
Yeah, I do.
You don't want to fill it? Go ahead,
Yes,
and,
sir.
go ahead and do it.
Brian Clemens to that committee.
To the Master Plan Review
Yes, sir.
Committee. Oh, that's a good choice. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. John Mangus. Any discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Artie?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Clemens. My goodness, what a difference an election makes. Let's see.
Does the parish
Pardon?
I have a quick question. Mr. Delat, I don't know if you have appointed anybody to that master plan, but there is a position. That's why it's 10. Each council member gets one, and a representative from the administration's office. So yes, just bring that back whenever you're. I just didn't know for sure if you did. Okay.
All right,
Yes.
item 18, adopt a resolution to take Gotro Lane in Council District 6 out of the parish maintenance system. This is Mr. Mangus, I believe. You have some information regarding this, don't you?
I do, and I have some guests here. If I could have Alderman Mike Fredericks come on up, and Miss Angela Elmore, she is the mayor. Okay. Mayor of Port Vincent.
Did you say the police chief was here as well, or? or not?
He was?
I think she left. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, she got a call. I think maybe
All right.
death or something.
Okay.
Not sure.
But I was at their meeting. Mr. Coates attended as well. They had their meeting of their municipality on Tuesday, and they passed an ordinance to remove Guitro Lane from their authority and to turn it over to the landowners. Can you tell this council a little bit about that?
Well, it's a 3/4 mile long road, Guitro. It's in between Hole in the Wall Seafood and the little bar, Whiskey River. It's been kind of a meeting ground for the Ascension Parish people and the Livingston people, and it's late at night, heavily traveled, dead-end road. They don't need to be back there. Can't say what they're doing, but we all kind of can understand. Maybe drugs, stuff like that. It's not the residents that live back there. I've asked every resident back there, they're good with that, landowners as well. Everybody's great with it. We're going to do we're going to give all of the, the 17 residents, includes 2 property owners, John Doris, Mike Meir. We're going to do all the emergency service, mail carriers, everything. They're going to have a code for the gate, get in and out. Let's see here. And that's pretty much about it, you know. The school bus carries in the front up there, the hole in the wall. That's been going on since the flood of 16. This place had 60 renters back there before 16, and it pretty much demolished everything back there, and they had campers, pretty much temporary stuff, you know. And that's pretty much about it. We hope y'all can grant it for us.
And from what I understand...
Yeah, that's our mayor, sorry.
Yeah, there's Mayor Angela Elmore. Can you state your...
Come on, give us your name and address.
Name and address.
You're the mayor of Port Vincent?
I am. Angela Elmore, 18664 Civic Lane, Port Vincent.
Well, great. Mr. Megan, you have a resolution you'd like to...
I do have a resolution. I'd like to make a resolution to acknowledge Port Vincent's ordinance of revoking their ownership of Guitro Lane and all of its servitudes and responsibilities, and returning it to the property owners, therefore removing Livingston Parish obligation to maintain Guitro Lane.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Ricky Goff. Is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Mr. Watts?
Yeah. How are y'all going to maintain the drainage on there?
Well, it's high already. You know, you got the river on the left. It's a peninsula. You got a swamp on the right. So, I mean, it's naturally drained because of the elevation of the road.
Y'all do realize that you do, not only do you take the road back, you take the drainage and any issues with it.
Yes, sir.
In other words, if the ditch is not clean, the MODAD's not working, it stops up, that responsibility is on y'all.
Sir.
We have no ditches. It runs right into the actual...
Is that the road that goes between Hole in the Wall
Yes, sir.
and Whiskey River?
It's a peninsula.
It goes dead into the river
That's
back there,
exactly
ain't
right. On both sides. You got the river
Yeah.
on this side and the swamp on this side.
Yeah.
And Miss Guitro.
I know where R.J. Landry put one of my big campaign signs back there from people launching their Freds. They could see it. I know where it's at.
If I can say one thing, and you have a precedent of doing this because of the Cove, right, is a area that is a private.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion from the council? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Artie?
Yes.
Ms. Sandifer?
Yes.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
Yes.
Mr. Watts?
No.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right. Item 19, I believe, was pulled. Item 20, adopt a resolution to add the following roads to the priority road list for consideration. Ms. Sandifer, I believe you have 2 of them, yes?
Yes, they're both in the same subdivision. I need Bastille Drive and Beauregard Avenue. Motion to make that resolution.
Beauregard and Bastille Avenue. Is there a motion by Ms. Sandifer? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimous. Board reappointments, Recreation District 1, Ricky Goff.
This is not a reappointment. Recreation District 1 is a non-functioning recreation district, kind of like Pards, but it's in the surrounding Walker area. I was on that board and revitalized that board to try to get a funding mechanism for our parks, which ended up passing. So I'm still listed on the paperwork as that person, and as you know, as an elected official, you can't serve on that board. So basically, it's my resignation. Sandy's gonna have a letter, so I just entertain a motion to
Accept your resignation?
yeah,
Are you
accept
going
our
to put someone on it or no? Or
No, it's
Okay.
non-active, so we just
motion to accept Mr. Goff's resignation.
Second.
Second by Mr. Coates. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
You also have Fire Protection District 4, Ricky.
Fire Protection District 4, Mr. Leslie Fawkes is up for reappointment. Those of you who don't know Mr. Leslie Fawkes, he's a board member at DEMCO and very active in the community. He's done a great job on the fire department, both as a volunteer many, many, many years ago. I'd just like to reappoint him.
Motion by Mr. Goff, second by Mr. Lonnie Watts. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Planning and Zoning Commission, Mr. Lonnie Watts.
Yeah, I'd like to reappoint my commissioner on there, Norman Engler.
Motion by Mr. Lonnie Watts to reappoint current. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Mr. Ricky Goff. Any discussion?
I just want to say, typically, I feel like I owe the public an explanation. I support a council person in their appointments, but in this particular instance, I am unable to, and I feel like I needed to voice that and explain that in order to maintain the integrity of a cohesive working council.
All right, any more discussion? Ms. Sandy, you want to call for the vote?
Mr. Artie?
Abstain.
No.
Mr. Wascom?
Yes.
Mr. Shavers?
Yes.
Mr. Coates?
No.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Mangus?
No.
Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Mr. Goff?
Yes.
Did that carry? That passed. All right, item D, Waterway Commission, Dean Coates and Mr. John Mangus. Y'all both have, I think, appointments to that. Is that correct?
Yes.
We have the reappointments that are here. If y'all could come up and introduce yourselves. There's a lot of things that the Water Commission does, and they would like to explain that to everyone on the council so that we would have an idea.
So is it two different appointments for this? One for you and one for John? Or?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so this will be yours?
Yes.
Give us your name and address,
Speaker.
please.
Perry Piku, Bear Island, Marpaw, born and raised, grew up on the rivers. Started the Waterway Commission back in 2004 for Livingston Parish. And we wrote all the criteria for all the idle zones throughout the parish. Livingston Parish has more waterways than any other parish in the state of Louisiana. 600 and some odd nautical miles that you can't, main waterways, 400 and I think it's 18 that you can navigate a boat. And over the years, we went all that and made idle zones through with the state wildlife and fisheries in the parish, and y'all passed it and put it into ordinance. And ever since then, we've been having our meetings. We used to have them at the old council years ago. And I'm the last original board member that's on it, you know, but we have 5 board members and 2 alternates, and we start meeting in April, and we meet at the Killian Town Hall the first Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock. And we have our own agenda. We post it over there. And we get people come. I think John came one time. Mr. Coates been there over the years. Other councilmen came and attend, you know. And we kind of keep a low profile. We get a complaint from someone, which we do get a lot. You know, everybody wants an idle zone in the area. You know, and we'll go take boat rides, access what needs to be done. We'll put up flags, we put up signs, we volunteer.
You know. You want to make a motion to appoint?
Can I finish?
Oh, I thought you was finished. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
I got a lot of people I want to thank.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna give y'all a little report. No.
I'm ready to go.
No, you good.
Take your time.
Matter of fact, you was at your place 2 days ago.
You know where mine is.
Exactly. There's a tree down in the river right there. It needs to be removed.
I've got a request for you when you finish.
I need to talk to this man after this meeting.
You're in a auto zone.
I am, yeah, fortunately.
Yeah. But we usually take about 3 or 4 boat rides a year, and we'll put up these orange flags we'll purchase and put them so people can see the signs, because a lot of the Livingston Parish waterway officers or the wildlife and fishery, they get a lot of complaints that people can't see the signs, but that's just the way out. So we'll put the orange flags on them about 3 times a year. That way they can see the signs. And we have our meetings, 2022. They had 12 deaths on the rivers down there. That was in 22. A lot of it was alcohol related, boat accidents, drownings. And this past year, we only had 7 accidents, no fatalities. 3 major injuries that happened on the Tickfaw River when the guy run the cigarette boat up into the woods. And they was hurt pretty bad, but no one killed, thank God. And I got some things I would, like a wish list that we've been promised for the last 3 years to get done. And it would help the drainage and make the rivers, waterways a lot safer. And right now, Pit A Mit's being cleaned out in between the Virgin Canal and the Old River along Highway 22. If y'all ever pass on Highway 22, going from Maurepas to the traffic circle, or up past Manny's, or where, if y'all know where John's place is, on Old River and where the Amite River meets.
I guess my secret's out now.
That needs to be cleaned out. They got a lot of trees from the hurricanes. That river hadn't been cleaned out, and I guarantee you 35 years. Thank God they're doing Pit A Mit. That ties into that, like I said, right now. Old River runs along 22, comes in close to Whitehall, here to Island, ties back into Amite River. And people used to navigate boats. That's a shortcut to get around. Now you can't even drive a boat through there. You could see all the storm debris. And we were promised that was going to be cleaned, and it ain't never been touched. You know. And now we had Hurricane Ida. You got more trees down. So, and the Lake Maurepas, Blind River has been handled, the coastal restoration or whatever you want to call it. But they finished, and I heard today, I don't take this to the bank, but I heard today, I had a phone call that the Amite River at the mouth of Lake Maurepas is finished today.
That's true.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it's today, but yes, I know they're over there.
On that deal,
if we're going to get you appointed, we got to get back to this meeting.
Okay, let me finish.
I'm just saying.
I know you want to go home. You're not going to camp tonight. But I got a recommendation on that project now. They dug through the stumps going straight through where the old lighthouse used to be. So now the parish is going to have to go put up probably about 6 or 8 pilings and put signs on them, boat throughway or navigation.
They meet in Maurepas.
Yes,
yeah, right.
Because if not, they're going to tear their boats up.
Right.
That channel's got to be marked that they dug.
That's been need to be done.
So, y'all need to take care of that. Get that done. If y'all want to, but if not, somebody going to get hurt. Okay, like I said, y'all welcome to come to our meetings at the Killian Town Hall. I want to thank Mr. Ronnie Sharp, the mayor down there, for letting us use the facility over the years. And his crew, Livingston Parish Waterway Patrol, Little Ronnie Sharp, they help us out. We need help. Louisiana Wildlife and Fishery, work with them. And I want to thank Eric Edwards with tourism. Because in over the years, over than 20 years, he had got us money twice. And that's what we operate. We buy gas, flags, a lot of gas, screws, stuff to screw on the signs, update the signs or whatever. The parish in the past been furnishing the signs. We get them made at the over there. And, but that's about it.
Got a motion, Dean, to approve this man?
Yes, and I had to add a few more to it. It's going to be Mr. Ernie Balfance, Carrie McNabb, and Mr. Perry Piku. And Ms. Piku, thank you for your service with the Waterway Commission.
Yeah, and also you got Miss Kathy Posey. She's a alternate.
That's another appointment for another council member.
That's my responsibility.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank y'all.
Is there a second from Mr. Coates?
We'll be glad to work with y'all.
Second by Mr. Joe Erdy. Any discussion, Billy? All in favor say yes.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Mangus?
Yes, I would like to make a brief appointment to the Waterway Commission. Miss Kathy Posey. It's a reappointment.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Mangus for Kathy Posey. Second by Mr. Goff. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All right. Real quick, I want to let him know that we need some better flags at Hilltop. It's a wildlife fisheries. They got a lot of tickets going on. I'm passing by there and you don't see the no wigs on this flag. So help us out on that. Get us some flags out there at the Hilltop. You know what I'm talking about?
After we have our meeting.
And I'll tell you something else about thinking about buoys. Where I like buoys in the middle of the river. That way it's easy to see. Well, okay. I appreciate that. Master Plan Review Committee, Mr. Taylor, you had one?
Yes, I'm going to appoint Sabrina Petrie.
Motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Coates. Sabrina
Petrie.
Any discussion? All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed? That motion carries. Livingston Parish Airport District, Mr. Coates.
Okay, I would like to accept the resignation that came in from Bruiser, and I want to appoint Brent Ballard. Brent's in the audience. Brent's an alderman. He's also a military service.
Where at?
I'm sorry, in Killian.
Okay.
Yes,
All
in
right.
Killian. And he's had 5 deployments in Project Freedom,
Brent Ballard?
fighting the terrorism. Yes, sir.
All right.
Separate.
Pardon? Okay, she wants to do these separate. So a motion to accept the resignation of Bruiser. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now another motion to appoint
Brent Ballard.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Mangus. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to add something real quick, just to show the cohesiveness. Mayor Ronnie Sharp's here also to support him, and so is Lyndon Henley, sorry. And they're both here to support Mr. Ballard on, they're all, like I say, Ronnie Sharp is the mayor, and Mr. Henley's an alderman also.
All right, great. Livingston Parish Sewer District, Mr. Shavers, you had an appointment?
Yeah, I'm going to remove that. I'm going to keep my appointment to that board.
All right. Committee reports. I know the Ordinance Committee hasn't met. Finance Committee, you have a report from the Finance Committee, Mr. Mangus?
We met for our first meeting. It was Mr. Watts, Mr. Erdy, and myself. We had some reports from Mr. McMorris, the CFO, and he explained a little bit about the council's expenditures and discretionary spending. And then we debated a little bit about the mosquito abatement, and that was pretty much it. We didn't send anything
back to the council.
Back to the council. Is that correct, Mr. Watts, Mr. Erdy?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
All right.
Chairman.
Sure.
We intend to our first Ordinance Committee meeting on the 19th. Just
contingent upon what I do next, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. On the 19th?
On the 19th, yes, sir.
All right. I'll go ahead and, as the chairman, is my job to appoint ordinance committee members, and so I'd like to remove Randy Smith, Larry Davis, Brian Ross, Robert Badgeron from the Finance and the Ordinance Committee. All right. District Attorney report. Did you have
report
anything?
this evening, sir? I will say this was the most efficient meeting we've had in a long time, so thank you for that.
All right. And before we go to the motion to adjourn, I would like to say, Mr. Delat, it was a pleasure to have you here tonight.
I'm sorry.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Randy. And bringing your expertise is fantastic. Mr. Coates?
Yes, that's going to be President's Day, so we may have to move that to Tuesday, if Tuesday is good for y'all.
Figure it out.
Tuesday
I
stuff.
don't think I can be there, but
All right.
I'm open any day, so whatever day
Yeah.
you want to do.
Wait.
do we have to make the announcement tonight?
You don't have to, but I mean,
The next council meets the 22nd.
About Monday?
President.
No, the 12th.
Oh, the 12th.
12th's fine.
Are y'all okay with the 12th?
Yep. All right, Mr. Chairman. 12th.
all right, Mr. Bankers had something, council comment?
Just the last little thing. I just wanted to say that the Immaculate Conception's Knights of Columbus, they're having their fish fry for starting the Lent meals, and I'm a member of parishioner of Immaculate Conception as well as a Knights of Columbus member, and the Friday is when the Lent starts. It starts actually, sorry ladies, Valentine's Day is Ash Wednesday. And so Friday, schools aren't in session the whole week now. So it's gonna hurt sales. So if you can, please support Immaculate Conception, the Knights of Columbus. We do a lot of work for the community. So I just want to say that goes on Friday, all day, 7 to 7, I think.
Fantastic.
All right.
Any more comments? None?
Yes. Yes. All right, we're not going to make the open meetings laws. So the date for the first meeting is still pending. We will send out an email blast whenever we figure it out.
For the ordinance committee.
If we have it Monday, we have to send the agenda out
Right now.
So is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Sandifer. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Lonnie Watts. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? I hereby declare this meeting adjourned.
John, you can go home now.